Illinois faces some big challenges. Today, you're about to hear a truly honest analysis of the problems we face. Equally important, you'll also hear an in-depth discussion of some practical solutions. This is your radio source for stories, the insight, and the answers you won't hear anywhere else, not in the media, and not coming from Springfield. You're listening to Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project. Now, here's your host, AM 560's Dan Proft.
Thank you for joining us on another edition of Illinois Rising. I'm Dan Proft, co-host of Chicago's Morning Answer with Amy Jacobson. Weekdays 5 to 9 a.m. on AM 560. And with me on this edition is Pat Hughes, co-founder of the Illinois Opportunity Project, a C4 public policy advocacy organization in the advance of economic liberty policy issues and policy solutions. Pat, turns out that the laws of economics continue to apply to the state of Illinois, much to the chagrin of our ruling class politicians. Job growth in 2017 plummeted in Illinois after the income tax hike. Turns out structural tax increases are real job killers. From January to June of last year, Illinois gained 25,500 jobs, a growth rate which is pretty anemic, 0.43% in employment. But nothing as anemic as what happened the last half of the year after the 32% increase in the state income tax and the corporate tax hike. During the second half of last year, from July to December, the state added 4,000 jobs. 4,000 jobs, 0.07% employment growth the last half of 2017. That doesn't portend well for the future of the state and people wanting to stay if they're not employers that provide economic opportunities for them to do so.
Yeah, they're anemic, Dan, and they're particularly anemic juxtaposed against what's happening throughout the region, right, our neighbors, but also throughout the country, right? The country is seeing incredible economic growth, GDP growth, stock market growth, job growth amongst minorities. All of these things nationally are all trending up, and we're at the end of the train. We're not seeing the gains that national policy and stock market gains. That's not coming to us because of this tax increase and other structural policies that have existed in our state for many years.
And it's a bipartisan problem, as we've mentioned often on this show. In addition to the Chicago Democrats, you had 15 surrender Republicans in the House that voted for these job-killing confiscatory tax hikes. 9 of those 15 took the stairs rather than be thrown out the window by their voters. But 6 remain. Several of them are facing primary challenges, and largely because of their vote on the tax increase. One of them, David Rice from Southern Illinois, the Effingham area, is facing a primary challenge from third-generation farmer and also the operator of a Christian school. Darren Bailey is his name. And interest of full disclosure, I'm supporting Darren Bailey in my capacity as a private citizen with a PAC that I run. So, factor that in however you want, because Darren Bailey joins us now. And we're pleased to be joined by Darren Bailey, who is a Republican candidate for state representative facing incumbent David Rice in Southern Illinois. Darren, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
So what prompted you to take away time from your family and your business interests, your other professional and fraternal interests, and decide to make a primary run against a relatively long-time incumbent in David Rice?
Yeah. Down in southeastern Illinois, we have a lot of hard workers. We have a lot of people that love to enjoy life with their families, and we feel like that's being infringed upon. People are losing hope. People are very, very frustrated at this July 4th tax increase. We had a gentleman in there that we thought we could trust, we thought had our backs, and yet we found out that turned out to be just another career politician when he did what he did. And people came up to me and began to suggest that I do this, and anyway, prayed about it, considered it, weighed the odds, and that's what my family does in our area. We get involved. We create change, positive change for society as a whole, and this just seemed like something I needed to put my money where my mouth was, and jump in and tackle this and see what kind of influence that I could exert based on what we believe District 109's values are.
Darren, what has been, obviously, Rice's support of the tax increase, which, as we said in the lead-in, is devastating Illinois' job growth, which is no surprise there. What has been the response to his vote with respect to that issue specifically? Are the pitchforks out? And then number two, what's the response you're getting as the alternative?
So the interesting thing is many people haven't seen David for years in our district. That includes me, who supported him over the years. I haven't seen him for over 5 years. But I'm now getting calls from some of his former supporters, just frustrated that he would have the audacity now to show up and ask for support, ask if they would still have his back. And I'm hearing a resounding message that the answer is no, you betrayed us. And interestingly enough, as of recently, one of the response that seems to be coming across just in the last few weeks is that a quote from David, is that I can't believe people are so upset over a $600 tax increase, such an insignificant tax increase. That's a message that I have heard within the last few weeks as he finally pays visits to some of his former staunch supporters.
That's an interesting reaction to the reaction. Why are people so upset about a 32% tax increase? Yeah, why would they be? It's not just the money out of pocket, it seems to me, and we hear this a lot from people, and as well as candidates. It's not just the money out of pocket. It's also, well, I don't have any trust in the way Springfield spends money, so it's not just the money out of pocket, but it's my feeling that my money is going to be wasted. It's not going to go to the things that I want to see state government do. Is that feedback you're getting as well?
Absolutely, yeah. And there is a core that's like, well, yeah, I'll pay extra taxes. I don't have a problem with that. But when they learn and start seeing the scope of the problem that Illinois is in, and the simple fact that looking at the numbers and at the last budget, that this tax increase really, the only thing it did is set a precedence for more tax increases. So people are the people that's on the fence are seeing that, and it's becoming all too obvious. But yes, overwhelming, in my opinion, as you suggested, the pitchforks are out. People are ready for change.
We don't get a lot of coverage of issues in Southern Illinois up here in Chicago, as you know. There's some regional tension in this state, but give us your perspective, particularly as a family farmer. Southern Illinois, southeastern Illinois is hollowing out, just like the state is hollowing out generally. And what people are saying about their future in Illinois if things don't start to markedly improve.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, that's actually that was in regards to the straw that broke the camel's back with me running. It was the first week of August, and one of my employees came to me and said, hey, just interestingly enough, I worked the same hours the week before, and my check's different. Missing $22. And as I began to look at that, I thought, maybe I made a mistake. I called my accountant, and he said, no, you remember the update I sent you? That's the tax increase. That's $22. So these are men and women that are working hard and fighting hard, and yes, they cannot afford that. And not only that, but when you come to southeastern Illinois, you will begin to see that business, life, just things are drying up. When you get to the southern part of my district, the coal mines are shut down, the factories are shutting down. There are people that are fighting and trying to be innovative and coming up with some neat ideas. But overall, we're really close to the Indiana border, and many people have began working there and are considering moving there. But family ties are holding them, and most certainly any further tax increases, any further drama from the state of Illinois, we are going to have a mass exodus in our district.
So, Darren, what's going to be, presuming that that you win this election. It sounds like you have a tremendous amount of momentum and support. You win this election, and you're the next state representative. What's going to be your top priority? You're talking about economic hollowing out down in Southern Illinois. What can you do as a legislator, and what's your plan when you get down there?
Well, being a fighter for change, and that's obviously the principle. People in my area understand farm work. They understand it's hard. They understand many times you're fighting against the odds, most of the time weather, many times financial. So we work hard and we fight hard. And people that know me and what I'm trying to bring to the table as I meet with people is to get them to understand who I am and what I do, and then realize that it's the career politicians, such as our current representative, who is basically settled. They've settled in. They're waiting for retirement. They're collecting their pensions. They're collecting their benefits. They're just it's a job, and that is not the case. And I think people, I'm hearing the message as well that the frustration of the promises that were made. You know, I can go around the district and tell people, "Yep, I've got your back. I'm going to fight for you." Yet come back a month, a year later, and said, "Man, you just can't get anything done in Springfield," and blame it on the system. So, but I will fight for the taxpayers of Illinois for no more tax increases, for reforms. I mean, we have got such an awesome. We've got the greatest state in the union logistically with our natural resources, and right now, we're the armpit of the nation, and that has got to change. And I will fight for that, and I will not give up. So that's what I bring to the table versus our current situation. Who just our current representative, who I believe just parks himself behind the table and pushes the red and green button and says he tried.
He is third-generation farmer Darren Bailey, running for state representative down in southeastern Illinois, the Louisville area, and facing incumbent David Rice. For more information on his campaign, you can go to baileyforillinois.com. Darren, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too.